Okay, so what we've currently got, they start here with the load report data, and in here, it's just, they've got this SP. Oh, I know why it's not coming up, because I'm not on the VPN. So now I just get to wait. Spectacular.
Okay.
Maybe I can find my way to the VPN. You know, because what else have I got to do while it's just sitting there spinning? I'll try my best to edit this out of the video. Okay, 732.103. Blip. I don't know if it'll be enough to. Yeah, it's probably just trashed by now. Okay, there we go. It did do some good.
Yes.
Okay, so it runs this SP that loads the data into this table. And so what this does is this just gets a distinct site ID, so then it can go ahead and pull the data for each one of these sites and then create a separate file for it. Right?
Okay.
So for job seekers, puts all the data in a table, and all that data has a site ID, and here it's saying, okay, for every site ID, let's create a separate file. Perfect.
Okay.
But you notice that this guy, since this goes into the job seekers, this guy is probably going to be different for all of them, for all the reports, right? Because it's a different table for all the reports. So what you're going to do is, I've created this package over here. So over here we've got the MTR site IDs get, and I don't think there's anything in it yet. Yeah, this is just a placeholder here. So you're going to set up this package that gets called and probably just passed in a report ID, or a report name, and it will load a site ID table for those. So instead of, because now we're at the point, we're at this point right here. So you'll create a script or an SP or something, right? That will come in here and it'll run this guy and it'll save it to a table. So I get a distinct list of site IDs in a table.
Right. And you said the table would be different for different reports, right?
Yeah, more than likely.
Okay.
Well, this table won't be. Yeah. This table won't be, because all we're getting is a site ID, right? But it's going to have to query different tables for it.
Okay.
Right? So the way I see this going, because I'm doing everything by execution time, right? So here, I'll just show you in the solution. So the way I see this going is, pick one of these other ones like report list. I've got everything by execution time, so I know which execution it is, because I don't know if maybe one day that we'll want to run different versions of this at the same time, right? So we may want to run like job seekers and employers at the same time. So by execution date time, then we can keep all the data in the same tables and keep it straight. So what I would do if I were you is I would create a table that has like execution date time and then site ID and then maybe report name, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that when you're in here and you create your SP, the SP will pull from this table and put it in this table. So that means that you'll have to add execution date time and report ID and the report name to the output, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll pass those into the SP because execution date time is a user parameter inside the package. So you'll pass that into the SP,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll run this, and you'll just save this to that new table. And since it's got the execution time and the and the report name in it, then they can all go in the same table.
Okay.
They'll just pull from separate tables, because right now we don't need,
Right.
right now we're not going to, we've already put the data in there. So now we just need to get a list of IDs that we need to run.
Okay. So where do we have the data? In which table?
It's in the, it's going to be coming from the tables that Prashant is working on in his package.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
from those tables that y'all created with the SPs before.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So here where it says, career reports, job seekers, all members, we'll change that to our table, which will be reports dot job seekers, all members, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the ones that that he's working on. And if you need the table names, they're of course,
Yeah, I know. I know that tables.
yeah, load
Yeah.
report data. And so I suspect that this package will look somewhat like this one, but I can't confirm that yet, right? Depends on how you decide to do it. But if you pass this, if you pass in the report name, then you'll have, a bunch of these for report name, and they'll just call their SPs and load their site IDs into that table, and then you'll be done, right? Do you understand? Because what happens here? Because what happens here, right, is we come in, we define this report section, blah blah blah, and then per report, it comes down here and it loads the data for the appropriate table.
Right.
So what we need to do here is get the site IDs for that same table. So you might even like delete the package I have here. No, I wouldn't delete it. But you could copy this entire thing and then just change what's being done in here, right? Just change the SP that's being called. So you've already got an entire package here that you could use. If you just copy it into here and then just change what it does, you've already got the structure, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so here we are executing to load into the table, load data into the table, and there we need to do is load site IDs into the table, right? That's the only difference.
Right, into a site ID table from these
into
tables.
A site ID from these tables. Okay, so the site ID table remains same.
What do you mean? Yes, 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 yes. Across all the reports.
No. Getting the site ID, that table is same, but we are inserting site ID different table.
Yeah, they're coming from different tables. So it'll come. So if it's the employer's all members report, the site
Yeah.
IDs will go into the site ID table from this table, or from this table, or from this table, but they will all go into the same site ID table
Okay.
because you'll have the report name, right?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I got a little bit of idea. Now, what is the final thing that I need to do? I need to get the site IDs into one table.
Yes.
Mm, okay. Okay. Suppose I copy all this to that package. Can you go to that package once? Okay. Suppose I do a copy paste over here. Then what will be the next step? I'll go to each and every
Each and
individual
every
that
one of these, and
one of
and
these.
I assume you
Yeah.
would have written an SP to do that copy because there's no reason to put it in the pipeline. So it's just gonna, you know, your SP will just be like, insert into, report dot site IDs or something like that, right? And then uh, you'll just call that SP. You'll change the SP that's being called. Oh, he hasn't done
Mm,
that yet. So, there'll be an SP that's called here, and you'll just change the
yeah.
SP that's being called.
Yeah. And that SP is already there, right? In this
Mm,
one, in that package. Or I need to create
y'all
that
wrote those SPs, but you're gonna write the SPs for your version.
for the site ID
Yeah.
to get the site ID.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have any sample for that? How,
It'll
like,
just be an insert.
is there any?
So yeah, your sample will be
Mhm,
you're gonna create your table,
mhm.
and then you'll come in here into the old one. And so for each
Package.
one of these reports, come
Mhm.
in to get site IDs, and you'll grab this query,
Okay.
and then you'll insert that data into your table, turning it into an
Okay. So
SP.
this this select statement is the major part of that SP, and
Yes.
it should be selecting from this statement, and then it should be inserting into some table.
Right. Into your site IDs table. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the table namings and all? Is there any format?
Uh we'll do report dot site IDs active, or I don't know, site IDs, maybe just site IDs or something, right? Um, Come up with something clever. Um,
Okay.
because site IDs is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but do we want to signify that it's like the working set, right? Um,
Okay.
Now the reason we're doing it this way, right, is we're
Mhm.
getting the site IDs here so that they're in a table and they're not in memory, right? And so what's going to
Mm.
happen ultimately is I got to go back to the other one. Is I'm going to reports run. After I run each one of these reports for the month, I'm going to
Mhm.
delete that site ID out of the table. So if there are 20 site IDs, there will be 20 deletes, right? So I create one file, then I delete the site ID. I create another file, then I
Okay.
delete the site ID. And what this is going to give us is if we ever have to stop this in the middle of a run, or if the server goes down and it just gets stopped in the middle of the run and failed over, right? Then we can pick up right back where we left off, because everything is table driven, and we know exactly where we left off, and we can see the progress as well, because we can see how much is left to process, because we can go into the table and see how many are left.
Okay.
Right? So we're putting these site IDs in a table for that reason. And I haven't built it in yet, but there will be a construct in here. There will be a separate flow in here that will allow you to restart it. So like if there's data in the tables already, then that means that the job didn't finish properly last time, and it'll just load the data and it'll just pick up somewhere where it left off, right? So like this gets the run dates, this loads the run dates, and this is for each report, right? So since the run dates and the other stuff and the reports and all of that stuff are already in tables, if they've already got data in them, then there will be a decision to make up here at the top. And that decision will be, is there data in the tables? Yes. Then if so, jump down to here, because everything else is already taken care of, right?
Right.
And just pick up where you left off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I haven't fully worked out the specifics of how that's going to work yet, but that's the general thought. Is I'm doing all of these guys in pieces like this so that we can stop and restart if we need to. And we could even like rerun something, right, without having to rerun it. Because if, say, somebody says, hey, I need you to run January, right? And then halfway through the run, they say, hey, I also noticed that March is messed up too. I could just go add March to the table. Right?
Right.
And boom.
Yes.
That's it. So good stuff there.
Yeah. Can you help me understand the package hierarchy? There is on the right side, there is this run reports, right? And then MTR and some packages are there. So what is the, like, how it is structured? Run reports is the main report?
Yes.
Or
And
okay.
some MTR packages,
And
that stands for master. And those are just, I call them master packages because even though they're child packages here, right? But they're still packages that we could plug into any process. Right? They're done contractually, right? So if there's any other process we need where we need to get the run dates, and save it to a table, here you go. If we need to load the report data for anything, for any other use, here you go, right? If we need to get a list of the report names that we want to run for something, here you go. So they're master level packages, sort of thing, kind of like classes, right?
right.
I'm building these kind of like classes. So if there's something wrong with the report data, if like we're getting errors with the report data, then I can troubleshoot just this package, and I don't have to run the entire process just to see what's wrong with these queries. Or if I want to change the way they work, I don't have to come in here and muck with the inner workings of the package and risk messing something up. Since it's just a contract, right? Then all I have to do is make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, and it doesn't matter how it does it inside of there. And I don't have to muck with the rest of everything else and risk messing something up. So
yeah. And suppose we need to define some variables, then I think in this case we have to define the package variables, right? Not project level variables as of now. suppose.
So for your purposes,
Hmm.
you will create package parameters,
Okay.
not project, but package, right? And
Package.
and then
Okay.
I'll tie it into the main package here. But the
Yeah.
way that works, it's pretty easy, right? Like I'll
Yeah.
take this one right here for load report data. It's an execute package task. It's over here somewhere, right there.
Okay.
And you just pick the name of the package out of the project, and
Hmm.
then you just map the parameters. So
Parameters.
this
Okay.
one doesn't have any, um,
Hmm.
because I haven't tied it in yet. But when I
Okay.
do, see
Hmm.
here are the child package parameters, and they'll map to which ones in the project, right? So for this
Oh,
one, it
okay.
would be something like, uh, I'll say report name because it's not the same thing, right? Uh,
Hmm.
but if that were execution date time, then I would map it to user execution date time, right? And that way,
Okay.
that other package gets sent the date time for the entire
Hmm.
run. But in this particular
Hmm.
case, it would be da, 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 user current report name
Hmm.
because it's inside a loop.
Right.
But you don't really have to worry about that right this second. Um, you
Okay. Yeah.
just have to worry
I'm
about,
just trying to.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get finished with
Thank.
that, then we'll
Hmm.
work on the second part of the package that you need to worry about.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So one more question. If you go to load report data, go
Load report
inside
data.
that.
There we go.
Yeah. And go to load data.
Okay. There's nothing really in there. This
Yeah.
is
So here we have this SQL execution task, right? Execute
right.
SQL task.
Uh-huh.
Um, so here, can we have a data flow task wherein we have OLEDB and there is some what you say destination, and then in OLEDB we can call
You can,
SQL task.
but
Uh-huh.
it's pointless because
Okay.
in my
Mm.
opinion, right, and my humble, not very educated in SIS opinion, when you're going from one server to the same server, there's no point in
Uh-huh.
putting stuff in the pipeline. It's just extra resources, right? So we're going from one
You are
table,
saying we are going.
we're going from one
Mhm.
table to another table in the same database, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So why do we need to load it up into the SIS pipeline when all we're going to do is insert it? So we're just going to insert it. It just needs a SQL task. The pipeline just complicates things and adds overhead.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We are not getting any data in any file or something, CSV or something. Otherwise, we would need that.
Exactly.
Right. Right now it's not required. Okay.
Right. The pipeline is for moving it from one server to another.
Okay. So in my case, for site ID thing, I would require the same thing, right?
Yep.
Like this one, SQL
Uh-huh.
execute task. Yeah.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
why I
Yeah.
said you
Yeah.
can just copy this package
Copy paste. Yeah.
because,
Yes. Yes.
like I said, all
Mm.
the all the framework is done for you, right?
Right.
So this splitter right here,
Mm.
um, it separates these guys. Here, let me zoom this out a little bit. So we've got two major sections, right? We've got the job seekers and the employers. And functionally,
Mm.
they could all be hanging off that top one, right? Because all I got to do
Yeah.
is get the report name and say, okay, if it's this report name, then send it down here. If it's this report name, then send it down here. If it's this report name, then send it down here, right? But
Mm.
you can see how hard these are already to arrange.
Yes.
So if they were all hanging off the same one,
Mm.
then it'd be really hard to arrange. All right. So
Right.
this guy right here, the only thing it does is it takes the report name
Yeah. And navigates.
and navigates exactly.
Yep.
So it says if it's like job seeker, then go over here. If it's like employer, then go over here. And then the splitter on each one of these guys takes the actual report name and sends it to the report it needs to go to.
Okay.
So
I
I'm
need
just
to
setting
do
that
it for
here
both,
with
right?
report section variable. Do what? Do what?
I need to do it for both employers and job seeker, all of them,
Yeah,
right?
you're doing the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And actually, as it turns out, you guys have the exact same task, right?
Exactly.
Because I've
Yes,
done the
yes.
framework for all of this, and y'all just have to tie in the SPs. And you can get him
Right.
to help you with the SPs if you want,
Yes, yes, yes.
because that's a lot of SPs.
Okay.
But it'll be a lot of repetition as well, right? The SPs will be fast to write because there's a lot of repetition. The insert will be the same. You're just arguing over which table you're getting it from, right?
Yes.
So for you, so for you, the in here, you'll have an SP that pulls the same data from one table, then the same data from a different table, then the same data from a different table, right? So how you choose to write the SP is up to you. SP or SPs, right?
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. You're saying in single table, single SP, I can give some if conditions or something like that, and we can divert the inserts.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right. And as it turns out, I have to go to my Oracle meeting.
Okay. And one more, MTR site IDs get. That is what my package is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think I had asked enough questions.
Cool.
And
And I'll
yeah.
compile this and I'll compile this and post it up for you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really helpful.